what's up, everybody? Jasper Gonzo here. Another What's Next. Happy Friday. Well, this should put a smile on your face. Well, CNN. Yes, those wonderful people over at the Cuck News Network, from Fredo Cuomo, fired, to, Don Lemon. To the wonderful little eunuch, Brian Stelter. And of course, you have the kingpin, Jeffery Zucker, fired. Well, anyway, speaking of, I didn't catch this story early on, but I'm jumping in with both feet. Let's take a look. This comes out of Fox News. CNN insiders react to Zucker's resignation, claim everyone knew about the relationship. One CNN insider told Fox News it's bullshit that Zucker had to resign over his relationship with this gullest person. CNN staffers reacted with a combination of shock and indignation Wednesday to the resignation of Jeffery Zucker as network president. CNN insiders told Fox News Digital they were caught off guard by the announcement, which arrived in their inboxes at 11 a.m. As part of the investigation into Cuomo's tenure at CNN, I was asked about a consensual relationship with my closest colleague, someone I've worked with for more than 20 years. I acknowledged the relationship evolved in recent years. I was required to disclose it when it began, but I didn't. I was wrong. As a result, I'm resigning today, Zucker wrote in a memo. Zucker's relationship with CNN marketing chief Allison Gullist, who now former CNN boss, has been speculated to be involved with for years. I think it's bullshit, said one CNN insider. I think it's absurd that he had to leave because of it. Gullist, however, is staying at CNN despite her involvement in the undisclosed relationship. Nice. The former Andrew Cuomo staffer was floated as possible replacement last year for Zucker, whose time at CNN appeared to be numbered even before this exit. I see it this way. She's incredibly good at her job, the CNN insider said. Technically, she's subordinate. I don't think she should be fired for given that. I doubt she'll stay after a time, but I'm a bit shocked that the people are rushing to slam her. CNN media pundit Brian Stelter described the network staffers as stunned as they received Zucker's message. CNN host S.E. Cupp also used the word when she tweeted her reaction. CNN commentator Mary Catherine Ham was chagrined at being asked by reporters yet again to comment on the misdeeds of men, adding she wished she could comment on higher brow matters. Quote, it's an ironic dividend of the, quote, Me Too era. You know, that wonderful 15-minute thing from a few years back? I spent so much time commenting on alleged sexual misdeeds of so many men, for which I have no responsibility. I try to be fair about each. It gets newsworthy. I wish ratio was more tax policy, less Harvey potted plant. Former CNN figures said Wednesday that the relationship between Zucker and Gullist was in, quote, open secret, and even outside people knew about it. Now we go from clownery to more clownery with this coming out of Breitbart. Nolte, CNN insiders want Brian Stelter fired over Zucker Gullist cover-up. Yes, the little eunuch. They want his number up. The call to fire CNN misinformation maven Brian Little Eunuch are coming from inside the house. The network needs to step up and fire Brian Stelter, and CNN insider told the Daily Mail. He's allegedly our top media reporter, really, and yet failed to report on a scoop that everyone in the office knew. And if he wanted to say that he didn't know, he's truly terrible at his job. A cable news veteran, who wished not to be named, spoke about the close relationship between Zucker and Stelter. Stelter should be calling his agent to start looking for another job, they said. He's been Jeffrey Zucker's water boy, oh yes, an ass kisser, for years, and no one believes he didn't know about all this. Well, of course he did. Come on. He's been sitting on his moral high horse, doing Jeff's bidding and ripping Fox every other media outlet, and Jeff tells him while the ratings crash and burn. Yes, by a whopping 90% ratings drop since Dementia Boy has been elected, where he was on the biggest story of his own network after chastising everyone. Where was he? I'm not sure how Stelter was supposed to report about his own boss having an inappropriate relationship with a subordinate. That would be a blatant act of insubordination, a violation of trust. So my issue with Steltner is not so much his silence, but his willingness to serve the cover-up of the affair with blatant misinformation. We now know, the day before the Radar Online broke the story of Zucker's affair with Alison Gullis, who holds the #2 spot at CNN, Steltner published a non-sequitur, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I'm not, I apologize, of his newsletter attacking Radar as nutty and not swayed by reality. Here's the full story on that. Of course, I'm not going to show you that full story. The timing is not a coincidence. So it's one thing to ignore the remaining silence regarding something internal. It's quite another to service something so absurdly sleazy and unethical. As CNN's media reporter, Steltner should have been sounding the alarm internally about how Zucker-Gullis affair was undermining the newsroom's integrity. Integrity with CNN? Really? If that effort went nowhere, he should have resigned on principle.
Hand over at CNN, no longer the president. Tonight, who takes over as president at CNN? And the short answer is we don't know. It seems pretty obvious the leading candidates will be chosen for their physical appearance rather than their competence. And as CNN's competitor, of course, we strongly support that. But we're also human. We want to help a fellow news channel in distress. So in the spirit of cross-network cooperation, here's a suggestion. Why not replace Jeff Zucker with Jeff Toobin? They're both called Jeff, not a small thing. Sure, Jeff. Got it, Jeff. Gesundheit, Jeff. Here's your large pizza, Jeff. Deep dish. Everyone at CNN is used to saying those words every day. So trading one Jeff for another would ease the transition. We wouldn't want a Penelope in this job, too many syllables. Jeff Toobin, by the way, knows the landscape at CNN. He's been there for decades. He knows how CNN works. In fact, he's trying to illustrate that on his now famous Zoom call. From the first day, Jeff Toobin would have the network in the palm of his hand. A lot of Jeff's stuff rubbed off on him over the years. The job won't be easy, obviously. Running a left-wing TV network isn't like exposing yourself online. It's a lot more embarrassing than that. It's also a ton of work. You've got to get up early every morning. You can't just lie in bed whacking the snooze bar. You've got to make it to the office and crank it out. But Jeff Toobin's up to it. Toobin reportedly has a keen business mind, so the sales team at CNN would welcome him there. You can imagine the innovative new sponsorships, the Lubriderm NewsHour, weather updates brought to you by Kleenex, a content-sharing deal between Headline News and OnlyFans. The possibilities are endless. So don't dismiss Jeff Toobin, ladies and gentlemen, as the new president of CNN. The HR department of CNN has already endorsed him. Fewer lawsuits. Jeff Toobin's not going to harass anyone, only himself.
All right. My thoughts. The fact of the matter is that this thing has turned into a clusterfuck over at CNN, and really, could any network deserve it more? Well, regarding CNN, the absurdity of forcing Zucker out is, it's absurd. It's clownery. When you have someone like FREDO Cuomo, who gets fired for basically trying to protect his brother regarding sexual allegations, you have Don Lemon, who is still running around at CNN, still has a job and a primetime host, even though he's had 2 sexual allegations thrown at him, and they are being currently filed in court because of him rubbing his own genitals and then rubbing someone else's genitals. Nice. Then you have one Jeffery Toobin. Yes, that Jeffery Toobin who decided to, I don't know, rub himself the wrong way on a Zoom call and yet still has his fucking job. But Zucker, who has a secret relationship with a woman, I know that's stunning in 2022. And yet he's forced to resign. Priorities. The hypocrisy that is CNN. But then again, what do you expect? But now they want to force the little eunuch, Brian Steltner, out because he knew and kept his mouth shut. Wow. You want to keep your job? Keep your mouth shut. That's over at CNN. But then again, look at Lemon, Cuomo, and Toobin. And with that being said, I'm Jasper Gonzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more just like this? Please leave a comment below. Like it, share it, subscribe to it. And we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.